Sayin with Senator Vickie Sawyer. That is me. And I'm not with David. David is out gallivanting the world again and doing, I guess, the Lord's work as he is giving his knowledge to all and anyone who will listen. But I do have someone who is not afraid to give knowledge to anyone who will listen, and that is Commissioner Jean Houpe. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here. Thanks for filling in a pinch. David and my calendar woes continue as he texted me on Thursday morning that he just happened to forget to remind me that he will not be here. So, again, I wish him well, but I am going to call him out for some terrible scheduling again.
Yeah, get him.
Yeah, we got to get him.
At least, when I'm here, the views and likes are higher.
That's true.
We get more views and likes.
That is so true.
That's my version of the story. Anyway.
That is so true. Well, honestly, I'm actually grateful that you're here because so many times we hear that there is a bureaucratic rub between a state legislature and a county commission because so many things are, directed by the state and, trickles down to the local. You have to deal with what we do because we are a Dillon rule state. Yay.
If y'all would just leave all the local decisions to us, we would be fine.
Yeah, that's what they
Stop sending me unfunded mandates. just listen to everything we say, and then we'll all be okay.
Oh, so my
wife says that's a man's opinion. If you listen to us, we're never wrong, right? So,
I hear you. So what translated that means is pay for all of our services at the state level, but don't look over here about what policies we're making.
You have it. That is it, exactly. Just send me the money and don't ask me what I need it for and what I'm doing with it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So
that's how everybody wants to live. Send me the money and don't ask me what I'm going to do with it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just thought it'd be a great time because you are recently going through budget and budget talks at the Iredell County. And gosh, remind me, how big is Iredell County's budget this year?
The budget we just passed was $352
million.
But
$352 million.
But I will say this.
What?
When you have a top 5 county and a top 5 state, you're going to have growing pains and challenges. A friend of ours that used to be here, Rick Howard, he always said instead of saying we have problems, we have challenges and opportunities. So, with all the different 26 county departments, the 3 educational entities that we deal with, and the 19 fires and 3 rescues.
19 fires,
19 fire departments, 3 rescues that we help fund, and 3 educational entities. And then 26 county departments.
26 county departments.
We have a lot on our plate, as you guys do. And I tell people all the time, we don't always agree. But we always have interesting dialogue because, you don't claim me in public, but I tell people, you're my sister from another mother.
I claim you,
but, it's just
like
my real sisters that are blood sisters, if they would just listen to me.
Right.
I'm one of 7.
Right.
And I'm the only perfect one my mom had, and I was number 6 out of 7.
So if many of their listeners know, Gene and I have been friends for years, and the first time I've ever saw Gene Houpe was, I told this story before, but I just love it. So newly minted PTO mom, or I've been PTO mom for years and years and years. And I was asked to help run a school bond referendum, which means as a vote to the people so that their taxes could do increase, but it's also an investment in schools. And so this was in 2014. And I went to the Republican Men's Breakfast, which was a war room for this because they were not excited about possibly investing in education, especially at their own expense. But here I was thinking, never been to a Republican men's meeting before, like, well, surely, I'm charming. articulate. I'm right. I mean, everybody knows that I'm right, obviously. Yeah. So anyways, I kid. So it was time for public speak. So I went up to the front, and we were at a place called Fat Boys. Which was an old barbecue restaurant in Mooresville on Highway 150. That really was really good, but it was actually kind of disgusting because there was so much grease that would come up through the chimney that there would be grease on the roof. It was gross. Anyway, I digress. So I'm sitting there, and I promise you, if there were rotten tomatoes anywhere near those people's hands, they would have been throwing it at me. They hated me so much.
Into politics.
Yes, my first. So
they were very roughly.
They were skewering me. I was this Lake Norman mom who didn't know what she was talking about, and they were basically telling me so. And then from the back of the room, Jean Houpe stands up and says, "Hey guys, just hear her out. Let's just listen to her. You may not agree with her, but just give her a break. Let her say her speech, and let's go on." And I was like, I love this man. Like, thank you, Jean Houpe.
Well, the biggest thing, I think we deal with is, always we both, and even those guys and girls, government for by other people. And what a lot of people didn't realize until they do is, if it's approved by the people, the expenditure on a ballot, we save interest, which is taxpayer dollars on the loans. And we have, we're mandated to build school capital.
Yes.
That was back when
to build
the boom
school
was
building.
starting. For the growth.
Mm-hmm.
And so the schools, that was the first of 2 bonds we've been.
By the way, I'm sorry, I'm going to just interject. Why is it so stinking expensive to construct a school? So the high school that we have, I'm not getting into the bond, none of that stuff, just straight out, regardless, across North Carolina, $220 million to build a high school. Well,
we got the cost down. Originally, the bond for that Weathers Creek was 80.
Right.
And then COVID happened.
Right.
And then I'm just saying the cost of construction materials for all kinds of projects.
None of that is, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just curious.
No, I get it. It's expensive. And
why is it so expensive? Like $220 million. Am I right when saying around about there?
Well, I'm saying right now, when we're going to be around, we're trying to figure out if we can afford to do the athletic stuff as well. And
you gotta have fields if you have a high school.
We're going to be in the 150 to 70 range, probably if we do the athletic stuff. But I think you have to do the athletic stuff to complete the school.
Absolutely,
it's going to be athletic stuff that I think the communities use as well.
Right.
It's economic impact.
Yeah, for sure.
You've got people coming and going, and
I'm not throwing off on Iredell
Pay.
So for example, we always get these funding requests for state construction things for everything. So I'm talking about a high school here, but I'm also talking about, university system building, or, oh my gosh, so the DOT wants to do a material yard in Wake County on land they already have. And now a material yard, this is where you keep your gravel and all this other stuff. Right. And they're asking for $60 million to do a material yard. I'm why is state construction so stinking expensive? What is the deal? Because, you see these other folks in private industry who are building amazing properties, and it's not near that expensive. I just don't get it. I'm sure that there is a reason behind why it's so crazy. Expensive.
Just the cost of things, and I don't want to, disparage anyone. I just know that the cost of materials are up and cost of construction's up.
But construction's always been expensive when the state does it. It's not just now. It was when in 2014.
When you're doing a project for the government, it's going to cost more than the private sector.
I know.
That's the bottom line.
And take longer.
Yep.
And that's just crazy. It seems like we would do. I remember when I dove down into this subject when Dr. Kenny Miller was in Iredell Statesville Schools, and I was on the facilities task force. Mm-hmm. It was interesting the amount of back and forth between Department of Public Instruction and them mandating who you have to use as contractors for the architects, at least the architectural firms. There's only like 2 of them or 3. Now, this is old information, so hopefully it's been changed. And then the standards. But anyways, the time lapse just getting going back between DPI and then, local building and all this other stuff. It just is like the most arduous process that it could imagine. Maybe that's part of it.
Just to it, working with those people over the years and the new people, they do a great job. They have a lot of challenges. They have a lot of maintenance, a lot of buildings to keep up with. And so, I've been one of the liaison for the commissioners since I've been here for education.
Yeah.
And, I tell people all the time, before you judge our actions, ask us our options.
Right.
And you don't always have great options. But I call all of these things an investment. Whether people have kids in the school system or grandkids in the school system, having great schools is a positive economic impact,
that's right.
as you know, and the athletic opportunities that come with it. People coming into our county and, Jennings Park, we did the investment there and it's full all the time. We're adding additional parking. So all kinds of things that, it's kind of, if you build it, they'll come.
Okay.
That's what I pray for every day. Okay. Is having the 2 interstates here. Because we hope there's plenty of people on it and they get off our exits.
Yeah.
They stay here. They go to our shops, restaurants. So
they give a sales tax.
Sales tax.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I didn't want to get off on the school tangent a little bit, but it just always is surprising to me how expensive state construction is. And I wonder if it's intentionally inflated because of all the bureaucracy that has been put into play that has to be approved, and because it's just really a mess. Now, speaking about bureaucracy, I don't know that if you saw the news, but our brethren in the House were at it again, and I was proud of them for this. So out of Mecklenburg County in December 2025, there was the most pitiful of cases. And I wanted to talk to you specifically about this because you are an adoptive parent. You are, but now you're a grandparent. Yeah. So you have 5 children that you had a gotcha day. And so you are very intimately, understand the foster system and adoption. But there's a poor child named Dominic Moody. She died December 2025.
I remember this case.
Yeah, when they found her, she only weighed 27 pounds and she was in a dog crate. And so the House Oversight Committee pulled in Mecklenburg County, and you as a county commissioner, you're also one that represents Mecklenburg County in the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. Yeah, and so these are one of your folks, but they really just dropped the ball for this young woman, or young child. There were 13 allegations of abuse or neglect on this child that have been reported over the year. One caseworker actually did document that and wrote in the report that she should be removed but the supervisor came in and changed it. So, the county, even though this is a lot directed by the state, the county actually is the one who controls Department of Social Services as far as management and hiring. And you have served on the Iredell County Health Department Board for a long time. So you have, intimately the struggles and stuff. So they were just grilling Mecklenburg County for I think it was like a marathon session.
Was it their social services or not?
All of it, yeah. Yeah, the social services. So talk about the county's role, about how that actually works, who is it accountable to, and how you could see something like this happen.
Well, I think the biggest thing is, the staff continues to be overwhelmed with caseloads, and they see a lot of these type situations all the time. And I'm not making excuses, but they, when I'll use the example, I was in law enforcement for 32 years. You see a lot of things you can't unsee, and sometimes when you're on these scenes, you're not as shocked or impacted like maybe a victim or family at the time, because you see it all the time. But what we've got to do is figure out ways to help the employees get help to the citizens that need it. Mm-hmm. Because the problem I see out there and hear about is the caseloads. We don't have enough foster families. Mm-hmm. We don't have enough places to put the kids. And North Carolina has always been a place for me. The reunification with families, to me, we're giving too many chances. Mm-hmm. And you're putting that kid, taking that kid out of safe arms and putting it back in an abuser's arms. Mm-hmm. My wife and I, we decided to adopt. We didn't want to be fosters because we didn't want to get attached and have to give them back.
Sure, right.
And as a law enforcement officer, I've had to pull a kid or kids out of safe arms and give them back to a potential abuser. Very few times that's a success story, mm-hmm. in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And so I would love to see more foster families, but it's very difficult. I know for them. I know our caseworkers are very overwhelmed with the caseloads, and I see how things can slip through.
Yeah,
there's either caseload exhaustion, overlooking, not having enough resources to put and pull the kids and put them places.
Right.
There's all kind of things you can look at county to county. That's why I think it would always be a bad idea to, over the years, they've talked about regionalizing DSS.
Right.
And, if you start combining multiple counties, your bureaucracy is going to get worse. Mm-hmm. More breakdowns, more mistakes. Mm-hmm. So I think, having it county to county and having them have the resources they need and, with the workloads and stuff, because the turnovers are tough on those people.
I can imagine the emotional drain.
And I'm going to advocate, for the pay, the stress, with what they see and deal with every day. You could imagine if you work every day in that.
Yeah.
And then how do you leave it at work when you go home?
Right.
If you have kids and grandkids and, you're worried about those other kids, if you're human at all, you're worried about what you can't control.
Right.
And what you can't fix. And my wife being a principal a long time and a teacher, holidays and summers are hard because they know some of these kids, what they're living in and what they're being exposed to. Mm-hmm. And, that's why I say all the time, when you've not walked in someone else's shoes, be reluctant to criticize.
Yeah.
We've got teachers and all, the DSS and all those people, they're doing above and beyond. From laundry to meals to clothing, clothes closets, all kinds of things. The private sector helps a lot of times. But you have a lot of these teachers that don't make a lot of money and administrators that are pulling stuff out of their pockets.
Yeah.
Food, clothing. But I see you ask about where do I see the breakdown. I think it's the resources, the lack of adequate programs.
Well, but check this out. So during that oversight committee meeting, there was a larger review of Mecklenburg County. They took 58 sample cases in Mecklenburg County. They found that 52% of those cases reviewed, intake workers did not ask sufficient questions to explore alleged maltreatment. In 36% of those cases that contained allegations that met the criminal defense definition of child abuse, case files did not contain notification to law enforcement or the district attorney's office. And in 45% of the cases sampled, workers did not document or show efforts to conduct separate individual interviews with the children regarding their safety. So basically one out of every 2 cases that they just had reviewed were done and handled wrong. I think there's a little bit more than just resources there. That sounds like a management thing. I do feel for those folks who are in that position because I know that the tools they're given can be better. I mean, even if we're going to talk about something as simple as software, technology makes case management so much better and easier to use. And I know that system is lagging about how you track children. Now, to the Mecklenburg County's defense, they said that they have 94 investigators in Mecklenburg County. They are handling 1,021 open investigations, and there's 654 of those are new ones. They're averaging 17 cases each. they said in a perfect world, they would like to have no more than 8 cases. But here's the thing for me, again, if you aren't following the standards that you have, even if you are overworked, I mean, 1 out of every 2, you could think maybe an error rate would be a lot less than 50%. Right. So I actually advocate, I agree with you. I think there should be more resources in these kind of areas. But I mean, this young woman, that 13 times there were reports made. 13 times, and she was found dead, 27 pounds, and in a dog crate. Mm-hmm. That's a little bit more than just, we need more money. Because I agree that they do, again, I'm not going to say that they don't need more resources. Foster, life is very near and dear to me. I know you and we have Ron in the room. We all have relationships with that system and want to see it do better because, it's kids, right? Mm-hmm. It's just kids. But this Mecklenburg County thing is really, really indicative of continual systematic failure in that district. So I just hate they got it handed to them yesterday, man. They were like, I think I heard a report. It was like 5 hours long or something. Wow. I can't remember. I was heading home, but yeah.
This is more of an oversight type.
Yes, it is. Yeah, you remember that old Dillon rule that we were talking about? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dillon all ruled up there. I think Mecklenburg County and Charlotte City might as well just go ahead and have a weekly bus coming up to
I think that's a big
Charlotte as much as we pull them up there.
Oversight, and I've always believed in inspect what you expect.
Yeah.
And I think you've got to have adequate supervision. You've got to have adequate oversight. I think that's the biggest thing is everyone's so busy, no one's checking behind each other. Nobody's looking for the failures. Anybody can make a mistake. Mm-hmm. But in cases where someone's care, health, and well-being is impacted, you've got to have some type of oversight and double oversight, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
And like you said, then you find out if it's an employee problem, a supervisory problem, or a resource problem. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And then you got to deal with that. But right now, you get people in there that the system has either overwhelmed from one capacity to the other. Mm-hmm. Because just like that, if you've got the cases coming in, you don't have adequate investigators, or you don't have adequate law enforcement to deal with it. You don't have adequate treatment facilities or homes to put these kids in, right? The system is backlogged. The system, you can point to a whole lot of things, but you really don't know for sure without the adequate system up and down reviews.
Yeah, I don't know. Agreed. Yeah, it just sounds like a complete mishandling of this. 1 out of every 2 cases.
There's all kinds of things out there, and having been a commissioner or legislator, our job is to try and figure out ways to make sure they have the resources to provide the services and care that need to be provided. And, we just mentioned all the things on our plate, and everybody needs more and more. And, a lot of people don't understand, where our priorities are and our limited funding. And, we live in, like I said, we have one of the best states and one of the best counties and one of the best regions in the country.
Yeah.
With those challenges, you have the overpopulation, you have all kinds of things you can point to.
Well, I do want to promote a positive, I think, program that any one of us who has a heart for children in this situation can help and be their advocate, and that's called the Guardian Ad Litem program. Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you are being felt by God to help these children in these situations, because obviously our government, at least in Mecklenburg County, is not, you can be that child's advocate. And it's a pretty intense program for training, right? I can't remember how long the training program is, but once you graduate from that, then you will be a third party that would kind of be able to monitor and follow and advocate on behalf of that child who is in foster care to the courts or to DSS, and really do have a great program. So I encourage each and every one of you who has a heart for children, especially those who are in distress, to look at that Guardian Ad Litem program, because it is amazing.
And if anybody wants to give any information on that, you can send me a message here at the radio station, and we will definitely get you information on that.
Thank you, Ron.
I know several people that are doing that.
Well, just we're talking about the children, you're talking about the elderly. One of the things you and I were at last week was the Veterans Court.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh. I'm so glad you brought that up. That was awesome. The Veterans Treatment Court. Yeah, it was awesome.
We do not, as a country, do enough for our...
Well, wait a minute. Let's talk about that after the break, because I'm going to tell you what. I was so moved by that ceremony.
Yeah.
I was grateful to be there, but let's take a little bit of a break, come back and talk about some success, because I feel like we were talking about some really big failures there that kind of brought me down. So thank you for listening to We're Just Sayin on WAME Radio. We'll be right back after the break.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First, drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said,
if it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips. Because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to We're Just Sayin. I'm Senator Vickie Sawyer here with Commissioner Gene Houpe. That's what most people say. It's really Houpe, and he'll tell you there's no hope without Houpe. But we'll go through the whole thing. So, hello, Houpe. Okay, so last Friday, you and I, along with Clerk of Court Mixon and District Attorney Sarah Kirkman, a lot of our elected judges, went in this most amazing celebration. And honestly, it was something that we had advocated for at the state level to establish, but only through some locals that had really worked. I know Brad Borders had been very instrumental in all that. And so they started, which I knew that we had done it. I just had not been to a graduation yet.
Graduation, yeah.
It was the second graduation. So it's the Iredell County Veterans Treatment Court. Mm-hmm. It was started in 2023, and it has its first participants in September of 2023. Mm-hmm. So what caught me is this. When the actual graduates of this program, and there were 3 at that time. Mm-hmm. So step back. They got in trouble. That's the deal. They got in trouble. They were on the wrong side of the law. They were in front of a judge, and their option was go to this program or go to prison.
Right.
That's their option. That's how bad of trouble they were in. So they chose this veterans treatment. Now, it's no joke. I mean, I think they were in it for like 18 months or something.
It's an 18-month program, I think.
18, yeah.
18
Wally Rebels runs it.
Yeah, so 18 months. And they have to do weekly check-ins, and they connect them with services.
There's a whole bunch of stuff from what I understood. We do a community spotlight here at the radio station, and Wahali was on with us, and he said that it's easy. Honestly, it's probably easier, he said, for them to just go serve their time in jail.
Really?
Versus coming and doing this, because it's a weekly check-in. If they've got substance abuse issues, they're doing drug tests, they're doing parole visits, they're everything.
Right.
From the first of it. He said it's not an easy cop-out for them to do.
Right.
This is actually something they're going through, and they're actually participating in different programs.
Listening to their testimonies, you could tell. I mean, it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
So the testimonies from these 3 graduates was fabulous. And what was interesting to me is that they all 3 started at the same place, homeless.
Yeah.
One man was living with his mother in a Brookwood Inn, which is a very derelict place. The other guy was living at the 5th Street Ministries in a homeless place. I think maybe the third one may not have been, but anyways, they all had one thing in common, and they were veterans, or are veterans, and they graduated from this. And
we should never, ever have a veteran living on the street.
I know.
In this country.
I know. But that one man, it's going to get me now. God. So this one guy, he has the biggest personality. Obviously not from the South.
That's the one that got reunified with his family?
He was so badly addicted to drugs and alcohol, he had lost contact with his family and his children, and he was living in 5th Street Ministries, which is the homeless shelter. He got in trouble, went through this program, and in 18 months' time, he's going to go see his daughter's wedding.
That's awesome.
And he would not have been associated with them at all. He's going to go visit his grandkids. He's got a place to live now. He has a job. He is going to actually come back and be a mentor to new veterans that are going to be. So this man in an 18 months time frame had literally turned his life around. And I just am tearing up thinking what an amazing success story. All 3 of them went from on the streets doing drugs to now having jobs, having a roof over their head, being reconnected with their family, and being an integral part of their life.
And I think
society.
Listening to the testimony, a lot of what I think made them successful. You figure people in the military are used to structure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then you get out, right? And you lose structure, you lose accountability.
Yeah.
And then I think sometimes you just go down the wrong road, right? Mm-hmm. And I think giving these people opportunities like that to get back on the right path, to have a productive job, take care of their families themselves, have some pride.
Yeah.
I think those are the biggest things. I think we as society should make sure those opportunities exist.
Yeah.
We should never have a veteran living on the street.
I know.
Never.
Well, so that was a success story. So I was very excited about that. Now, going back to the jails, and you and I always kid back and forth about unfunded mandates, and you want local control over all of our money.
I'm not kidding. You need to just pay up.
But there is something.
Mandate it, pay for it.
There's something that we can be unified with, and it's actually at the federal government. So now we're on the same side here. So
that's the double rate we're paying.
So when they say someone is imprisoned in the Iredell County Jail or any jail in North Carolina, they were on Medicaid, and maybe they were on Medicaid before. As soon as they hit that jail, their Medicaid ends.
Stops.
And you guys are responsible for any health care that is shorter than 24 hours hospital stay, right? So you guys have that. There's this donut hole of coverage. As soon as they go to jail, the next thing you know is the taxpayer of Iredell County's responsibility to pay for their medical care. And I'm sure they don't come in all happy and healthy.
Well, you don't know. We have inmates with cancer, having babies, root canals, all kinds of things. Right. Yeah. Drug addictions. All kinds of things.
I'm sure a lot of it is drug addiction, correct? Yeah. So when you guys were doing your budget, tell me, how much did Iredell County pay for inmate care while they were in your jail?
Since I think 24, we spent over $7 million. and that's going up. I mean, we have a lot pending still.
Sure.
Bert said, and just that kind of money could be, with all the other things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
If we could at least just get to where we pay the same Medicaid rate, we're paying double the Medicaid rate for whatever reason. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we could just get to where we're paying their Medicaid rate, but what gets me, why would they stop getting the Medicaid and all because they're incarcerated unless they're going to be there a long period of time?
It's actually a federal rule that was written, and it said, sorry, I just had my notes on it. I was looking for it, but it was when it was adopted in like the 1960s, and they did not want to have the federal government subsidizing inmate care, so it was like a carve out for that. But it is a federal rule. There is push afoot to allow for an exception to that rule at the state level, to ask the feds, like, hey, come on, can you at least keep them on Medicaid? Right, because then because my assumption is once they are disenrolled after jail, do they have to re-enroll? They have to re-enroll, and that's another red tape. And
the people you just said are overworked at social services or wherever. They're going to have to do all this stuff again where somebody had already been qualified. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just more workload.
Yeah, that's fair. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is fair. And I know the software for even entering in that information or requalification is cumbersome and lunky and old and doesn't communicate. And so another area where we really, really need to agree. So, but now we're talking about that, so we can blame the feds for that hole in your budget. Now, tell me how many terrible things I've done to you at the state that has given you heartburn.
Well, we talked about this ballot initiatives where I still think all the local decisions are better made locally because one size doesn't fit all.
Correct.
The intent, I think, of the tax levy system is good. But I think what worries me is all the counties are different, right?
Yeah.
And if that passes and you have some kind of cap, I just told you all the things on our plate.
Sure.
The county departments, the schools, the fires, all those things. Mm-hmm. And the money that pays for that, it concerns me where that's going to come from if that cap passes. But you guys will, if it passes, you guys will have an opportunity to tell everyone what those limits are.
And so it's not just like a cap on taxes, it's a cap on how much it can increase at one time.
Right.
Like, so you guys went through a reval and folks' taxes rate actually went down, but the amount of money that you guys received went up considerably. Right. So, I mean, we're not saying, that's a considerable jump in, budget that you got from one year to the next after tax revow. So it's not like we're saying you can't have money. We're just saying you can't have like a 20% budget increase just because it's a revow year, because then that's just giving you all this extra cash that may not, or I know our county does a good job, but we just talked about Mecklenburg County. We've seen some other issues where local governments aren't that. And we're saying, fine, if you want to increase taxes, it can't be through the revow. Just go to the voter and ask them to increase taxes.
The problem is you hear my argument all the time as far as, before you judge my actions, ask my options, right? Mm-hmm. Well, to me, the revow, we do it every 4 instead of 8, which is required by law. And I think that the revow allows you to look at the market. The markets are done. We have over 700 neighborhoods in Iredell County that we look at for comps, right?
Sure.
And then to me, if you cap what the market can produce, right?
Yeah.
If you're looking at the 700 neighborhoods, you're looking at the comps. I'm just throwing the argument out.
No, I know. Go ahead.
And I'm
getting ready to slap it down. I'm ready.
But it's like the stock market. You got to cap how much you're going to.
Yeah, but are you going to tax my unrealized gains?
I don't.
So you are with that reval on that property. So, okay, so I'm Meemaw. It's always got to be Meemaw. And I bought my house for $75,000 in 1982.
But there's a way to fix that.
And now it's just in a nice area, and all of a sudden it's worth $500,000, which is a real thing now in 2026. Now, I have not sold my house. I have not, done anything or taken, equity out of it. It is still just my little house. Mm-hmm. But you guys are going to sweep away or continue to tax me on something that I have not gained value. I have not personally gained from that. So that to me is you're taxing.
Well, you do personally gain when you sell it.
Right. So, okay.
But until you sell it.
Right.
Until you sell it, it becomes a burden to people with fixed incomes, right?
Right.
That's the problem. So I think there are all kind of things we could look at as far as giving some kind of tax exemptions breaks to your fixed income elderly.
Well, we have that now, but it's not that.
I'd love to see North Carolina get rid of income tax.
Mm-hmm.
I think you would generate sales tax to replace that like Florida.
Yeah.
I'd love to see capital gains get capped. I think you'd have more people stop hiding purchases and sales if you had a capped capital gain. And I think I'd love to see inheritance tax go away. Mm-hmm. To your point, Meemaw's paid on this and paid it off all the years. And when they sell it, some of the family has to sell the property just to pay the capital gain or the taxes on it. Mm-hmm. And I'm just saying one size doesn't fit all. But I think we can all continue to look at ways to give your, veterans. We're already doing, your farm breaks for farmers, present use, and I think we could look at ways to help to where your fixed income, your elderly, your primary dwelling. We talked about that. I think income properties. I think. Revenue producing properties,
second homes, or like Airbnbs, short-term rentals, stuff like that. Yeah,
I think that stuff needs to stay with market.
Yeah, but if it's your primary dwelling, stay at home.
If your primary dwelling, I think you put a cap on.
Aren't you so excited that the General Assembly has now given the voters the ability to empower us to make sure to save you from your evil commissioners in property revals?
Because they know not what they create. I'm just saying, if the way you put on the ballot, every reasonable person is going to support that, thinking I'm going to save taxes. But then when they turn around and they want the sheriff to come and the fire department to come and the sanitation to come, I'm going to say I can't afford that because the state capped my income off of the taxes.
No. We didn't cap. First of all, there already are caps on the amount of tax that you can pay. This is talking about the difference on a reval,
which is nobody's even over $1.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. There already are. Right. There's a misunderstanding that we are going to tax. I mean, that there's no tax cap now. That is not true. There is. We're talking about those reval years when you go from, $100 in taxes a month to $200 in taxes a month. I mean, that is real pain. So that you were paying the sheriff to come to my house before that reval. You're going to pay him afterwards. We're just talking about this crazy swing in property revals. And you're right. One size does not fit all. There are counties that are losing.
When you talked about the cost of construction materials.
Yeah.
Well, operations goes up every day.
Sure.
Healthcare.
But not at the rate of the revals that they are.
Well, not at the rate, but it goes up.
Well, sure. Yeah, I don't.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying the cost of operations goes up for private businesses. It goes up for government.
Yeah. But you know what? When your expenses go up, you have the authority to ask the taxpayers to raise their taxes, or you can raise their taxes.
If I ask you to donate more money, I hear it on the news all the time, is ask these 1%ers to pay more.
I'm not a 1%er.
I'm just saying, if you volunteer to pay more, write a check to the government. They will not turn it down.
I know. Okay? Well, I'm just saying, you guys can
every 1%er in this country could give you 100% of their income, and it wouldn't be a
I know. But I'm just saying that you guys, you're making it like that. If this goes through, that you're not going to be able to provide basic services. Well, that's not really fair.
Until you guys tell
us. That's not fair.
When it passes.
Yeah.
Until you tell me how much of the cap is going to be.
It's not a cap.
And then I'll know, it's a levying system.
Okay.
Which is basically
I'm going to get out the grok. I want to know how much money Iredell County collected. Okay. How much money how big did Iredell County's budget go from before reval to after reval in that 1 year?
I don't have that.
I know. I don't either.
You're asking me a question.
I know. I should have had that.
I'm just saying, when you have one of the best and fastest growing counties in the region.
That's fair.
Your cost is going to go up.
Right.
But if we were abusing it and not spending it wisely, we would not be one of the best counties in the country and wouldn't be one of the best states. But listen to me.
When you go back to Raleigh,
you need to go in there and say, look, Commissioner Houpe said that we need to pass our budget in Raleigh, and we need to trust our local leaders. Yeah. If we're abusing it, I get it. But I think the point is, I'd love to leave more tax revenue in their hands. I think they would spend it, like sales tax. You and I talked about it. Back when we did the school bonds. The sales tax in Iredell County, over 50% of it was paid off the interstates, right? That's why I've always said that's the fairest tax, right?
Yeah.
And so when I needed money for a school in 18, if the sales tax had passed the ballot referendum, but in general, in a conservative county, most people are going to say, I don't want to pay more taxes. They hear the word tax and more, and they're going to vote against it no matter what.
Yeah, because that's the only thing that unifies Republicans and Democrats.
Is more taxes.
Is they don't want to pay more taxes.
Okay. But I'm going to get you right here.
Now, okay, I'm ready for it.
I got my knife out.
Okay.
And I know you got your vest on.
Yeah.
Is developer impact fees.
Yeah, I'm in.
If we could get that on the ballot.
You can knife away, I'm in.
If we could have developer impact fees.
I'm in.
I don't think you would have us screaming and yelling as much over this other referendum is if we could have impact fees where they could help with infrastructure and those costs right, that we're mandated to do, right?
Yeah.
I think that offsets some of the challenges.
Right.
And I'm not being anti-development, to the developers. However, when you come in here and you do all of these things, we want you to make profit, but we also don't want our taxpayers to continue subsidizing
new development.
New development and
absolutely.
all that.
I'm in.
And I just think that would be a reasonable, that would be a bipartisan
I agree.
statewide initiative.
Yeah, well, we used to have them until a local government, namely, I think Chatham and Orange County, so forgive me if it's not Chatham, but I do remember it was Orange, like went nuts on their development. It started out, like, from my understanding, it started out from like, tens, hundreds of dollars to like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Right.
They're trying to balance their budget off of their back, and that wasn't fair either.
Right.
And I think there's a reasonable opportunity.
Yeah, my way.
To have everybody, work together reasonably. But I think, I just think there's so many challenges that we have that I think you look at all these things.
Yeah.
Because I really believe if you got people out here that work hard and they can bring that money home and they have disposable income, not many of them are going to put more in a 501 or savings account. They're going to spend it with their family.
Yeah.
That's going to help our local shops, businesses. That's going to come back to us in sales tax, right? That's what Florida is.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's happening in the state of North Carolina for years and years and years. Senator Berger said we need to cut taxes, and everybody says, oh, you're going to starve government. The poor government's going to starve basic services. And then the next year, the forecast hits, then the money hits, and you're like, oh, well, we've over-collected taxes yet again.
Take back with you to Raleigh.
No.
If you mandate it, pay for it.
Oh, Lord.
And the federal government also. Just remember, the more decisions you leave for local, the better.
Yeah.
From school calendars, all the things I'm kind of down with that a little bit. It's just there are so many instances that we see in Raleigh from across the state of bad behavior by local government. Punishing everybody.
Well, it's like, dude, it's like, okay, well then go live on a mountain by yourself, because that's the way the world works. You remember in elementary school? Yes, you do.
If you break the law, why they need to put me in prison?
You remember in elementary school when that one person who could not stop talking would get the whole class in trouble, and then you'd have to have silent lunch.
Right.
And it was that one person.
I didn't agree with it then either.
I don't agree.
That's where you need to bring back good ass whooping. And a peer beat down, right?
Well,
because if you get everybody in trouble, then your peer pressure should.
But you need to. So to your point, though, there are some things that need to be regulated at the state level for business continuity. So if you are a retail, like say a Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever, you need to have some semblance of stability across the state, so that you will be sales tax would be.
You can, but I'm a tier 3 county, and I'm subsidizing the 80 tier 1 and 2 counties because I'm getting no tier 3 money back for the capital, and they keep redistributing my taxpayers' money, and I'm advocating for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just saying the tier 3 hurts us. Mm-hmm. We ought to, I've advocated for legislative goal is to, the 20% of capital money, just like the school. You helped us get approval for something, then Cooper turned it down for that new school.
Yeah, right.
Right?
That's right.
The tier 3 counties, all these people that work less hard and are less successful continue to be rewarded by taking the successful, hardworking people's money and giving it to them. Come on, I need an amen.
I agree. As someone who lives in South Iredell, County Commissioner, I agree.
I get it. If y'all listen to me, the traffic problems will be fixed, the tax problems will be fixed, all of that will be fixed. Because you know what? We make it too hard. It's simple. Do the right thing. And the right thing's the right thing.
Oh, whatever.
Come on.
The right thing is the right thing for the person elected. What is the right thing?
And you're not wearing your seatbelt, he doesn't need to be punished. I'm going to punish my county for being the best in the state of the country because somebody else in the other part of the state is not doing their job.
Well, okay. So what he's talking about is that I can't remember when this was enacted, but each county has a rating, and the rating puts them into 3 buckets, tier 3, 2, and 1. And a lot of times, educational funding specifically is tied to these tiers. So the better economic off you are, like a Mecklenburg, an Iredell, a Johnston, a Wake, a New Hanover, a Buncombe, the less money that you receive for services. So you'll see that, for example, with students, so we have average daily membership, and in Iredell County, this county or the systems get like $7,457. I don't know that that's exactly right, but it's right around that range of money to educate each child. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're in Hyde County, North Carolina, which is very rural, beautiful. Gosh, it's beautiful up there. I love it. But they don't have the same tier rating. They're actually like a tier 1. They always did that backward. They wanted the ones to be then I think they get up to like $10,000 or $11,000 per pupil reimbursement. So just in that one example, I agree. But then
3 counties are kicking the rear end, and you're taking my money and giving it away.
So I come up to that, Raleigh, with that same thought, and this is what I get told back. Well, if Hyde County were to raise their property tax by, 50 cents or something like that, they would make like $10,000 extra a year in their budget, and they have the same, have to abide by the same things for fire and those type of things. Whereas us, if we were to raise, our property tax like a penny, then we get like gazillions of dollars. So that's what always is the
per penny on my rate's 4.7 million per penny.
Per penny?
In Iredell County.
It is? Okay.
That's all.
Yeah.
We're a quarter cent on my sales tax. That's why I've always said it's a fares tax. Like back in 18, it would have been, I think, 8 to 12 million, a quarter cent.
Yeah.
Now it's higher. It would be higher. But I think that's the fares tax because everybody pays that.
Yeah.
It's not on food and gas because you have the separate stuff on that. Whether you're an illegal immigrant or whether whoever, you're paying sales tax when you go buy these things. In Iredell County, you've only got about 70% people own real property. So 70% is carrying 100% of the responsibility. That's why I want to keep their rate low if we can do other things. But it's a lot of challenges. But I think the problem is, in general in our country, we've got to stop taking from the hardworking people. And there's plenty of working people that can get off some of these programs and go to work. I think there should be some job requirements, some inspections, and all these things.
Oh, wait a minute though! But didn't I just get hit up because you guys are frustrated with us because we conform to the federal law that requires for the recertification or every 6 months of the review of the applicant for SNAP benefits?
I'm okay with review.
Are you? Okay.
I'm
not saying you're not. I'm just saying, like, I heard
accountability, but if you're going to require it, you got to give me enough money to pay people to sit there and do that.
Well, don't they do it now?
The same people that's doing that, though, is just the government used to reimburse me from 50 to 75% for that employee for federal for those requirements. Now they're doing 25% reimbursement. My responsibilities and inspections are going up, but my reimbursement to pay those people to do that more.
But isn't there an app for that? I know I'm being seriously ridiculous, but okay, so I have to verify income. I have to show I'm working or not working, all this other stuff. Can't I just have a portal and upload it and then AI just scrub it and say, oh yeah, I can check that? It just seems like.
The problem is too many people, when they're giving you information, they're not getting verified, whether they have the need or the job, whatever their situation is. There's too much fraud and abuse. That's why people started screaming when Elon Musk went in with Trump. The accountability. You have millions, in my opinion, of square footage in the country not being used because people working from home. We're paying all that. To me, it's kind of like you and I never got to this today, but the camera system for
license plate readers. We were going to talk about that.
Right?
We got a few minutes. We can talk about
all of that stuff. To me, if you're on a government program, you ought to have an expectations for reviews and oversight.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't mind helping you in, up, and out. When I was a housing officer, the program was in, up, and out. It wasn't supposed to be in and never out. We need to help you in, help you get a job, help you get a skill, help you get up and out. Just like your disability, whether it's long-term or short-term, help the people that can't help themselves. But there's too many people. My old buddy Steve Johnson used to say, when you got too many people riding the wagon, instead of pushing and pulling it, when the wheel falls off, you're in trouble. Right? We've got too many people in this country riding the wagon and not pulling or pushing it. That could be. And that's not a criticism of the people that need help.
Oh, yeah, fair. That's fair. Yeah.
But if you need help and you're getting help, you should expect and have to cooperate for oversight and review. That ought to be guaranteed. Come on.
I know.
It's like showing an ID to vote. Come on, you show ID for everything else. We won't get real political, but come on. You show ID for everything else, show ID to vote. You're not disenfranchising anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
You want to come in and get SNAP and benefits, you show ID for that.
Yeah.
You find a way to get over there for that.
Yeah.
I'll give you an ID free in North Carolina. Come on.
Well, I do know that.
Back. Come on.
I know that just got hit.
We
can sit here for hours. We can sit here for hours and go back and forth.
Amen.
And no, we're supposed to be on opposite sides of the team on that.
I'll give it to you. Amen.
I'm meaner than Coble. See, next week she's going to want Coble back.
No, I'm not. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. Well, guys, thank you so much for. First of all, Commissioner Houpe, thank you so much for being here and sharing your stories. Ron, thank you for sharing your stories with the foster care. I know that is very interesting, but I'm glad that we got that. Definitely look at the Guardian Ad Litem program.
Yes.
And reach out to Ron if you do have an interest and want to know more about it.
And email ron.wameradio@gmail.com and I'll answer any questions for that.
Yeah, please do. Well, thank you all for listening. It was a wonderful time, even though David wasn't here. We hope he's out having fun, and have a wonderful weekend.
And try to reach out to Sawyer every Friday between 11 and 12 and tell her Commissioner Houpe was right.
Okay. Have a good weekend.
Say what you want.
Thank you for tuning in to We're Just Sayin' with Senator Vickie Sawyer and co-host David Coble. We appreciate your time and input as we discuss the issues shaping North Carolina. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we look forward to having you join us again next week for more updates and insightful conversations.